What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. We got a mock draft. It actually started a little bit quicker than I thought, so I'm going to hop right into it. We're going to start with the 101. We're going to grab Justin Jefferson, the first player off our board. And hey, welcome to the show. Come on in, the Fantasy Fellow Show. If you guys are new to the channel, definitely give us a subscribe, please. We're trying to reach our goal of 1,000 before the football season starts. So hey, if you're new, come on down, subscribe, like the video, and it's early as I record this. It's May 31st. A lot to happen in between now and the season, so we'll see what happens. But I'm gonna try and do as many mock drafts as I can for you guys as possible. I like ESPN. I like Yahoo. If you guys have any requests, I am like a shitty wedding DJ. I will do requests. So if you need a 10-team PPR, a 12-team half PPR, whatever you need, we can take care of your fantasy drafts for you guys and get you ready for the season. The draft started a little bit quicker than I thought. We ended up I knew I was going to take Justin Jefferson with this first pick. I've been doing a ton of best ball drafts over on Drafters, DraftKings, and Underdog. So I'm pretty in tune with the ADP. This is my first time checking out ESPN for 2023, though. So we'll see what they got brewing on their ADP. Usually some things are off. Again, this is a 12-team full PPR mock draft. We got Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Christian McCaffrey, Cooper Kupp, Austin Eckler, Bijan Robinson goes at 6, and then Travis Kelce here at 7. With the first overall pick, I think just doing as many best ball drafts as I've done so far, I like being in the top 2. I want to get Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. Those guys are going to be the dudes this year. I think I can make an argument for Jamar Chase to be the best player in 2023. But either way, you're getting a dynamite receiver to start your draft. You're going to come back in round 2 and 3 at that turn, and you're going to see we have a lot of options that we like there. So, but anyways, we're finishing up with the first round here. You got Tyreek Hill, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley. I'm assuming running backs are going to be pushed up a little bit in full PPR on ESPN, but we'll see. And then, hey, I want to shout out. I put out a video. It's getting some decent traction yesterday. It is, let me scroll down here. It is the 2023 contract year players. Go check that video out. It should be on my main page if you just click videos, or go to thefantasyfellowship.com and check it out there. There's also an article too if you guys want to check that out. And then don't be afraid, check out the 2023 playbook. I'm basically giving out my draft kit for free this year, guys. I'm just calling it the playbook. It's got projections, rankings, and everything you need on there to get ready for the summer. So we're prepared. I know it's the last day of May. So it's going to be a long month of June. Nothing really happens in June. There's going to be some OTA stuff. But most of the time, there's going to be nothing happening. Maybe there's some trades and some camp cuts and things like that. But we also have a couple free agents to sign places. I'm thinking of like Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott. So we'll get a little bit of movement in June here, but hopefully everyone just stays healthy and we get these guys ready to come to training camp in July. But essentially, if you're drafting best balls, keep drafting in June and July. If you're drafting your redraft team and say you know your spot, maybe let me know what spot you need and I'll do a video. I'm going to try and do pick 1, 2, 3. I'm going to try and go in order. But like I said at the beginning of the show, I'll take requests. If you need to see a 10-team half PPR league on Yahoo, let me know. If you need to use Sleeper, let me know. I will do as many mock drafts as I can for you guys. And again, I've already done a lot of videos on best ball. I think there's a playlist on my page if you guys want to check that out. But we're moving into the second round here. Stephon Diggs, the first pick of the second. CeeDee Lamb. Josh Jacobs, round 2, pick 3. A.J. Brown, round 2, pick 4. That's a good value for A.J. Brown in the best ball leagues that I'm drafting in. He's a top 10, top 12 pick. Nick Chubb, fantastic round 2. Tony Pollard, round 2. Amon-Ra St. Brown getting a little bit of a dip here. He goes like 12th, 13th overall in best ball. Jalen Waddle there. A little bit high for Travis Etienne. I strongly advise not taking Etienne here in best ball leagues. He's starting to dip into the late 4th, early 5th round of drafts. So that's the first glaringly off ADP. Also, Dalvin Cook here. We do not know where he's going to play, especially if he lines up in Miami. Like they have like 3 other backs there that are pretty good. So we're going to swerve on Dalvin Cook. I think Joe Mixon's also a little bit ranked too highly here. And then the other thing I noticed is the quarterbacks here. Pat Mahomes at 23. Josh Allen at 28, Jalen Hurts at 30. These guys are going in the second round of best ball drafts right now because you can stack them with Stephon Diggs, Kelsey, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith. So we'll see what happens. I'm currently up to pick, though. You got Mahomes, Cook, Mixon, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Najee. Aaron Jones is up there kind of high. I do like DK Metcalf. I love T. Higgins. You got Devonta Smith here. I think for funsies, let's go ahead and you can probably tell I've been playing a lot of best ball. I don't see any running backs here that make sense to me. I'm gonna grab Devonta Smith to be my wide receiver 2, and then coming back, I could easily take a wide receiver 3 here. Whether it's DK Metcalf, T. Higgins, these guys are ballers. I kind of want to let quarterback slide. I'm kind of thinking about stacking Jalen Hurts with Devonta Smith. Maybe we do that here. I think that's kind of a fun take here. Maybe we just see what receivers fall to us. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just lock in Jalen Hurts. And again, this is my first ESPN mock draft of the year. I've been doing a ton of best balls. I'm stacking players in best ball leagues. So in those best ball drafts, it's really hard to get Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith on the same team because they go in round 2. So I think I'm getting a little bit of a value there, and we stack our guys, and it's fun. The running backs, I don't see a lot of running back value here. I love Jahmyr Gibbs. Alvin Kamara is ranked way too high. He's going to probably be suspended for a decent portion of the year. Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, not super excited about these guys. Najee Harris is fine. I think we're going to probably end up snagging a lot of these running backs later in the draft, and we'll build the old zero RB team where we just grab a bunch of guys later. Receivers, let's take a look here. Chris Olave, he's a second or third round pick in best ball drafts right now, so he's definitely on our radar. Calvin Ridley's a third round pick in best ball. Christian Kirk's a fourth round pick. Wow, a lot of ADP values here. We're gonna like the receivers as we go down. So yeah, this is gonna be looking pretty good. We're gonna be looking good. If you're drafting on ESPN, again, let me know if you need 10, 12 team leagues or something like that. But otherwise, just kick back. We're just getting dialed into the ADP here on ESPN. After I took Jalen Hurts, though, you see Josh Allen go. I love DK Metcalf this year. I love T. Higgins this year. Mark Andrews, round 3, pick 5, is a pretty solid pick. And then you got Patrick Mahomes there, round 3, pick 6. So all 3 quarterbacks. Well, there's kind of like a clear top 3 quarterbacks. So no quarterbacks in the first 2 rounds. I started off with Hurts in the 3rd, then Josh Allen and Mahomes. So 3 quarterbacks all off the board through 3 rounds right now. Hopefully we can grab some of the receivers that I mentioned earlier. Because, man, Olave is a late second round. Olave gets drafted around T. Higgins. He gets drafted before DK Metcalf even. He's kind of in that Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle tier. So far so good. There's Joe Mixon and Dalvin Cook. Again, these guys are not the best picks in the 3rd round right now. I think they're more like 5th round values. Dalvin Cook actually is being drafted like in the 7th or 8th round of best ball drafts right now because just nobody knows what his future holds. I don't think he's going to be going back to the Vikings, so we'll see. I'd be kind of shocked. They scrubbed him from all their social media, so that's kind of weird. There goes Chris Olave. So good pick there. Round 3, pick 9. I'm all aboard the Olave train. And so for me, it does say we're going to start two running backs, 2 receivers, and 1 flex. In all of my fantasy leagues that I play in, you can start up to 4 wide receivers. So that's kind of how I'm going to be drafting within mind here. I'm probably going to end up starting 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and then I usually have 2 flex positions. So I usually fill those with wide receivers. So I think leaning into the wide receiver position is probably where you want to be at this point. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. We got a handful of guys on auto pick here, so we're going to get sniped on some good players. At the end of round 3, you see Najee, Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, round 4, pick 1. That's a pretty solid value for him. In best ball leagues, he's being drafted around like pick 30, so a mid to early 3rd round pick on Breece. I love Jahmyr Gibbs there at round 4, pick 2, and then DeAndre Hopkins. Not quite sure how to play the DeAndre Hopkins situation. I think anywhere he signs, he's not going to be the wide receiver 1, so I'm thinking his value is somewhat kind of locked into a top 15, top 20 wide receiver, so I'll kind of value him as such. But anyways, we're almost up to pick. There's a lot of good guys that I like on this list here. I just got to kind of filter it out and figure out what I'm doing for the ADP wise. TJ Hawkinson's down there for a good tight end. A lot of receivers coming off the board. Alvin Kamara, we're not taking him. Running backs that stick out to me. I mean, I love J.K. Dobbins. I love Cam Akers this year. I love James Cook. I love a lot of these guys late. So we're probably going to build like some kind of hodgepodge running back room here. Again, this ADP is a little weird to me. So I think we're going to continue to take probably best receiver here. I can maybe take TJ Hawkinson with one of these picks. But again, like I said, I like filling my wide receivers first because you can start them. You can start the most wide receivers. You're going to end up probably starting 3, if not 4 wide receivers on most fantasy teams. Like I mentioned, Calvin Ridley's a guy I want to buy into this year. He is going to be flirting with Christian Kirk to be the Jags wide receiver 1. It wouldn't surprise me if either one scores more points than the other. For where he's being drafted, again, in best ball leagues, he's like a mid-third round pick right now. So he is the guy that screams to me as the guy to get here. And as we go, like, there's so many good receivers late here. Maybe I should look into some of the running backs. So there goes Terry. There goes TJ Hawkinson. Some good QBs available. Burrow, Lamar. I think Amari Cooper is probably a guy that I'm going to take here. So I will grab. I'll grab Amari Cooper to be my wide receiver 3, and then I'm going to plug in Calvin Ridley as my 4th receiver, and we'll get him kind of as our second flex. And again, it really depends on your roster format. I think grabbing receivers is the way to go. Receivers typically are better and safer picks than running backs. I think running backs for me, I've the last few championships that I've won with like really shitty running backs. I usually hit on at least 1 or 2 running backs in the draft, and then you have 1 or 2 guys that you add throughout the free agency year. It's not as easy to find those guys for wide receiver off the waiver wire, those big volume plays. So for running backs, we'll kind of snag. I'm probably gonna end up snagging a handful of guys that we'll see what we can make of it. But I like this core so far. Jalen Hurts throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith, Amari Cooper as our 3, and Calvin Ridley. And I just want to show you guys the ADP. If you're curious, I do have the ADP uploaded on the fantasyfellowship.com. Just click on whatever you need, Underdog, Drafters, ADP. Let's see. Let's just click on Underdog. And I'm going to show you. Calvin Ridley's got an ADP of 33 on Underdog right now, and Amari Cooper at 35. So we got 2 guys there at the 4-5 turn, and they're both being drafted in the 3rd round. And the other guys here, you see Devonta Smith, he's a 24th overall pick. That's where we took him. And then actually Jalen Hurts at 21. So we got 2 guys of value with our 2nd and 3rd round pick. But here we go. Moving into the 5th round, after I took Calvin Ridley, you see Christian Watson, Alvin Kamara. J.K. Dobbins is one of those guys, like I could have taken him with our last pick there. He's a rock solid 5th round pick. I expect him to be a fringe running back 1 this year, whether it's top 10, top 12, based on your team formats. But I'm very excited about J.K. Dobbins, and I'm hoping they throw the ball to their running backs a little more. That would be great because at the moment right now, we're probably not projecting J.K. Dobbins to get more than 2 catches per game. I got him somewhere in the 30s for catches, but if he starts catching 2-3 receptions per game, look out, man. If he goes over 40 receptions, he's going to be a running back 1. And I know he's going to run the ball a lot. So I love the volume play there. Miles Sanders, interesting. Not super excited about the Panthers offense, but he can be a volume guy. I love Deontay Johnson. He's set for another 140-plus targets. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, good quarterback values here. And you saw the 3 quarterbacks that went in round 3, Hurts, Mahomes, and Josh Allen. You can wait till round 5. You can grab a Lamar. You can grab a Joe Burrow. Justin Fields is probably in this neighborhood too. Yeah, he just went round 6. But after those Burrow and Lamars, Mike Evans, Darren Waller, round 5, pick 10. I like Waller. I think he's got top 3 tight end upside this year. He's going to compete with TJ Hawkinson for tight end 2. Pacheco, Rashad White. There goes Cam Akers. Fields, followed by Herbert, George Kittle, David Montgomery, Marquise Brown, Dallas Goedert. So a lot of fun players flying off the board here. And I don't see a lot of this is all wide receivers here at the top of the board. I don't see any running back values. I do love me some James Cook. I don't know if I want to miss him, but it feels a little early. He's got a 93 ranking here. So what we're going to do is we're probably going to grab some more wide receivers here. Let me look at the tight ends. Pat Frymuth at 94. I feel like we're going to be kind of risking it if I don't grab some of these guys here. I'm going to grab Christian Kirk. He's a 4th-round pick. We now have 5 wide receivers, so he's one of our bench guys that we can pull up. And then with this pick, we could take a wide receiver here and then just call it good. But I'm going to reach. I'm going to reach for James Cook. I have 5 really solid receivers. I mean, I like Mike Williams on my bench, Tyler Lockett. These are all really good bench receivers, but hey, we'll don't worry about that. We'll find some guys. I think I'm all in on James Cook this year, guys. I know they brought in Damian Harris. I know they brought in Latavius Murray. These guys are good bruising backs, but I'm going to bet on the talent here. I'm excited about James Cook. Sounds like he added some muscle to his frame this year, and he's a really, really good pass catcher. I want to look at what Devin Singletary did last year. And James Cook's going to assume pretty much all of that passing role that Devin Singletary's had the last 2 years. So 50-plus targets for Singletary the last 2 years, about 38 to 40 receptions, and Singletary has averaged 9 to 11 PPR points per game. Now, I'm assuming James Cook's a better talent than Devin Singletary. I think these are kind of floors for James Cook. Now, let's go look and see where Singletary has been in running back rankings the last couple of years. And he's kind of had to share the backfield with some guys. Last year, Singletary, RB23. So I think I'm locking myself into a running back too. Now, keep in mind, Singletary shared the backfield with James Cook, who ended up being, he was RB44. So I think the upside for James Cook is pretty freaking high. He could be a top 15, top 16 running back. And if we look the year before, where I don't think he shared the backfield as much in this 2021 season. He was RB20. So I think we're buying a pretty solid running back too in James Cook. I just want to see what his numbers were last year. It wasn't great, but he did have a couple spike weeks towards the end of the year. So they started to give him more carries. You see some 11s and 14s here. And he was also had some spike weeks as a receiver. So I'm thinking James Cook gets unleashed, finishes as a top 24 running back, and I probably need to move him up my rankings, honestly. I think he's sitting at RB25 right now for me. Let's go check that. And hey, you guys can go check out my rankings and projections on thefantasyfellowship.com. Here we go, running back projections. I think I updated them. I updated them last week. I got to get those updates in there. I moved some things around. So James Cook's here at 28. I'm probably going to have him upwards of RB20 or so in the coming days. But moving into the 7th round here, let me recap. After I took James Cook, you got Mike Will, Trevor Lawrence, DeAndre Swift, Tyler Lockett, Javonte Williams, Michael Pittman Jr., Pat Freiermuth, Deshaun Watson, Brandon Cooks, David Njoku, Brandon Ayuk. End of round 7. Beginning of round 8, you got Tyler Higbee, Michael Thomas, Jahan Dotson, Jacoby Myers, Evan Ingram, George Pickens, and Dalton Schultz. So a lot of good guys here. I mean, at this point now, I probably need to start looking at running back. I love Brian Robinson's potential. Keep in mind, like, they gave him a ton of work last year, and he was coming off a freaking gunshot wound. He missed like the first 3 or 4 games. He ended up with a ton of – dude had 205 carries last year in a season where he was coming off of a freaking gunshot wound, and he missed a handful of games. I'm expecting the Commanders' offense to be more efficient than it was last year. I think Brian Robinson's a pretty fine pick for a 0 RB team. We'll also look at some of these other guys here, but I think I'd be totally cool with James Cook and Brian Robinson as my 2 running backs to kind of hold the fort down. So we're gonna lock in B-Rob. We got him in the auto queue. After that, I mean, you could wait for quarterback, Dak, Cousins, Daniel Jones, all pretty good bets here. I do want to look at tight end, Komet, Ertz. I mean, at this point, it's pretty ugly. Receivers, Gabe Davis is pretty late here. We'll go ahead and draft B-Rob. I don't mind grabbing a Cortland Sutton here. Jordan Addison's probably a rookie that I wouldn't mind having. So I'm going to grab the rookie receiver. And I do think it's a good idea to grab some rookie running backs. Let me see if the running backs here one more time. I see I'm probably going to miss out on some of these guys, but we're going to grab Jordan Addison and then just be done at wide receiver. I mean, we got JJ, Devontae Smith, Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, and Jordan Addison. So we got some receiver rooms. We got the Jags receivers, the Vikings receivers, and Amari Cooper in the mix there with Justin Jefferson. So I'm pretty excited about this. This is looking pretty good. Again, James Cook, Brian Robinson, those are our top 2 guys at the moment. Let's look and see what Brian Robinson did per game last year. And I think we're going to see more Brian Robinson on first and second down. I still think he's probably not going to be used a lot as a passing down back, but he could be. He averaged 9.4 fantasy points per game last year. His floor was 5 to 8 points here, but he did have a nice run. Or look at the volume here: 18 carries, 21, 12, 22, 24. I think he's a volume play, and he does some decent things when he catches the ball. Only 2 rushing touchdowns, and keep in mind he played 12 games. I can't do the math right now, but 12 divided by 205. Let me see real quick. 205 divided by 12. Dude got 17 carries per game last year with a busted knee. Like, oh my goodness. So I'm excited about that. 0 running back room. We'll see what happens. And then with Jordan Addison, I think it's a good idea to zero in on some rookies this year. Whether it is, I mean, if you can get Bijan in the first, go ahead and do it. I'm all aboard Jahmyr Gibbs as a late 3rd, 4th round pick. The first rookie receiver should be Jordan Addison off the board. I know a lot of people are excited about Jackson Smith and Najigba, but he's got more target competition. He's the 3rd receiver there in Seattle. They run a lot of 2 wide receiver sets, so he's probably going to be getting about 60% of the snaps. So I like JSN. He's going to need an injury, though, to DK or Tyler Lockett to really hit on his ADP. And then some other rookie receivers out there, guys like Quentin Johnston, Jonathan Mingo, Rashee Rice. I think it's a good idea to build some rookie receivers into your lineups. But we're almost up to pick here. At this point, the draft's kind of whatever. It's a lot of auto picking going on. I'm noticing a ton of quarterbacks available. You can get Rodgers, Wilson, Geno, Matt Stafford, all these guys pretty late here. We're going to probably pivot towards running back and tight end. I mean, I like Antonio Gibson as a backup. I know we got B-Rob already, but we can lock up that backfield there. And then at this point, we're probably just going to be looking at handcuffs. I like Zach Charbonnet. Again, I'm interested in taking rookies at this point. We'll probably take some more running backs later here. Let me just look at the tight end room real quick. Ertz, Everett, Jawan Johnson. We're going to wait on these guys here. Let me go back to all positions. I will take Raheem Mostert as a guy that maybe gets some starts for us. And then we're going to take the Seahawks running back, Zach Charbonnet, who is rumored to he's going to probably have some weekly upside. And if anything happens to Kenneth Walker, boom, we got something there. We know the Seahawks are good at running the football, and I'm kind of just betting on unknown upside here. So recap, Jalen Hurts is our QB1. I'm not going to draft a QB2. In 1 QB leagues, you don't need to draft a QB2 unless you wait for 2 quarterbacks super late. The running back room, it's not the greatest, but we got James Cook, Brian Robinson, Raheem Mostert, and Zach Charbonnet. Again, the last few fantasy championships that I've won have been with 0 running back. I basically need to hit on one guy that I just lock into my lineup every week, and then I can find a running back too. And then receivers are our strength here, obviously, with Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith, Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Jordan Addison. And I know I have 2 Viking receivers, and I have 2 Jaguar receivers. I don't love that, but hey, I'm going to get the best Jags receiver there, Ridley and Kirk. I'll get one of those guys will be starting for us every week. So we'll kind of figure it out from there. We do need some tight ends. I'm liking Jawan Johnson quite a bit here. He's going to be kind of Darren Waller-esque for Derek Carr. So he's the guy that I've been zeroing in on as one of my latest tight end picks. And then I do like, let me just double check running back real quick. We'll wait on running back. Let's fill our tight end spot here. I'm going to grab Jawan Johnson as my starting tight end. And then I kind of, once you wait for tight end, I always kind of like to grab 2. We're going to grab Chigozie Okonkwo. I have Chig ranked as my tight end 9 right now. So essentially, if you can't get Kelsey, Hawk, Waller, or one of those top tier tight ends, I'm looking for Pat Frymuth. He's my tight end 7. Otherwise, I'm looking for Chig Okonkwo. Absolutely love Chig Okonkwo. Jawan Johnson's right there as well. So we have 2 tight end 1s that we can kind of pinball between and see which one is starter. And then if you guys have watched my stuff in the past, I don't really care about kicker and tight end. We'll make those our last picks. But I do want to grab one more running back. I got one more sleeper for you. This sleeper running back has Weekly upside. I mean, it's a high floor for in case you need someone as a running back too. But if anything happens to the starter on this team, he might be a league winner. And it's Jaylen Warren, one of my favorite best ball picks right now. If you look at what Jaylen Warren did at the end of the year, he was getting more and more work as the year went on. He's going to get work in the receiving game. You can see his receptions the last few games. He's got, a floor of basically four receiving points per game. But in those games where he had double-digit carries, he had double-digit fantasy points. I love Jaylen Warren. I want him on my teams this year, especially on my bench. The defense we're going to take here, looks like the New Orleans Saints already got scooped up. Panthers, Seahawks, Commanders. I'll go with the Eagles. I know they have a good defense. We'll go with the Ravens. At this point, it's too early to know what defense is going to be good. I was looking for the Saints, but it looks like they got scooped up a long, long time ago. So it is what it is. But hey, again, don't judge me. This is my first ESPN mock draft of the year. We did a 0 running back build. I think it worked out okay. We're absolutely stacked at wide receiver. We got the quarterback 1. We got some bullets at running back. I'm very excited about James Cook. I think Brian Robinson can hold the fort down as our running back 2. We got some potential running back replacements on our bench in Raheem, Charbonnet, and Jaylen Warren. If we need to add through free agency, we totally can. You can always build through trade, but I love stacking wide receivers on my starting group, but not only my starting group, but in my bench. You want to be deep at receiver because that's the position where you can start the most wide receivers on your fantasy team. So you want to have that, just make sure you're the deepest at that position. And then as we're picking our kicker here, I really don't care who my kicker is. The Jets kicker is going to score points. Eagles kicker is going to score points. Brandon McManus for the Jags. I like that. Matt Prater, don't draft the Cardinals kicker. Don't draft the rookie Jake Moody. Riley Patterson for the Lions is a decent one. We know the Lions play in the Dome most of the year. They probably play like 10 or 11 games in a Dome this year. And it's a really damn good offense. So I like Riley Patterson, one of the top. Basically, you want to pick a high-scoring offense and kind of go from there. So I'll grab the Lions, Riley Patterson, and we'll call it a day. There it is. The final review here. Justin Jefferson was our first pick. Came back with Devonta and Jalen Hurts stacked. Amari Cooper and Calvin Ridley are wide receiver 2 and 3. Christian Kirk, first receiver off the bench for us, but again, in most cases, he can be a starter. We got 2 starting running backs in James Cook and Brian Robinson. On our bench, we got Jordan Addison chilling, Raheem Mostert chilling, Zach Charbonnet chilling. We're going to have a tight end duel between Juwan Johnson and Chigo Okonkwo. Jaylen Warren, ace in my back pocket. On my bench, Ravens, Riley Patterson. So there you go. There you have it. Again, I'm going to be doing these the rest of the summer. So check out the playlist. I'm going to create that after this video. Check out some of my other best ball stuff and subscribe if you guys are new. Like the video. It's going to be a good summer. Stay along for the ride. And hey, I appreciate your time. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace.